Miami, Florida, in June 2001, became the site of one of the most perplexing autopsies in the history of American forensic medicine. This case shook not only the local community but also the medical community across the entire country. It became known as the Maxwell case, named after the man whose body was destined to reveal an impossible truth. Robert Maxwell was a 45-year-old software engineer working for a large IT company in downtown Miami. He was an ordinary man in extraordinary times, the late 1990s and early 2000s, when the technology boom created a new class of workers who spent their days in front of computer screens, sustained by coffee and takeout food, sleeping 4 hours a night. Robert was one of them. His colleagues described him as brilliant, but withdrawn, always working late, always with dark circles under his eyes. In June, he called the office and said he was sick. He wouldn't be coming in for an indefinite period. His boss was concerned Robert never got sick, he never missed work. But Robert simply hung up the phone. No one from his colleagues heard from him after that. A week later, his apartment became a source of complaints. Neighbors complained about the smell. The building manager decided to enter the apartment with a key. He found Robert in his bedroom, lying on the bed. He was dead. Police and paramedics were called. At first glance, the death seemed simple. A man lying on a bed, apparently having died from a heart attack or stroke, something that could happen during sleep. But when the medics approached closer, they noticed something strange. The body was in a condition that seemed incompatible with 1 week of decomposition in the summer heat of Florida. Normally, when a body is in such conditions, hot, humid, with insects and bacteria, it decomposes quickly. Usually within a week, in such summer heat with insects present, what remains of a person is mostly bones and tissues in an advanced state of decomposition. But Robert was untouched. His skin was pale, slightly moistened, but essentially intact. His features were still recognizable. His body looked as if he could have died a day or two ago, not a week ago. The medical examiner of Miami-Dade County, Dr. Victoria Carter, noted this in her initial report. She was puzzled. She demanded a complete autopsy. When the time came for the autopsy, an unusually large number of personnel gathered in the morgue, not because this was something known or famous, but because Dr. Carter insisted on having several witnesses. She felt she had found something that needed to be documented. Something impossible. When she opened Robert, the room filled with cries of surprise and horror. His internal organs were absolutely untouched. No decomposition. No bacterial growth. No signs of the standard decomposition process. But that was not all. His organs looked as if they had been dissolved. The stomach was an empty shell, its contents completely liquidated. The intestines were thin and perforated with multiple small holes, as if the tissue had been eaten away from within. His lungs were completely filled with a clear liquid that was neither water nor anything known to toxicologists. But this was not all. His organs were positioned incorrectly. His heart was in his abdomen, where his liver should have been. His liver was where his heart should have been. His lungs were rotated, so the left lung was on the right side and vice versa. His kidneys were crossed, so each was on the opposite side of the body. It was as if all his organs had been completely rearranged, as if his insides had been completely reconstructed. But here was the incredible part, he was still alive. When Dr. Carter cut open his chest, his heart began to beat. Slowly, barely perceptible, but it was beating. When she measured his blood pressure, it was low, but he was experiencing a heartbeat. He was alive. In panic, Dr. Carter called in physicians. They entered the morgue and found Robert lying open on the autopsy table, his organs visible, but still alive. This was impossible. A person cannot live with an open chest, with his organs exposed, with his heart visible and beating in the air. And yet Robert was. They tried to close him, tried to stabilize his condition. But when they began to close the incision, Robert opened his eyes. He looked at Dr. Carter, and his mouth opened. He tried to speak, but only a rasping sound came out. His eyes began to close again, slowly, like a person falling asleep. Within 47 seconds, his eyes were completely closed. Within 49 seconds, his heart stopped beating. His brain activity ceased. He was dead. But what happened next was even more strange. Over the next 20 minutes, while they were examining his body, his organs began to move. They were not moving consciously, but they were moving as if something was undoing the process that had been performed. His heart returned to his chest. His liver returned to his abdomen. His lungs unrotated. His kidneys moved back to their correct sides. Within 20 minutes, his organs were completely restored to their correct positions, as if they had never been rearranged. Dr. Carter was in complete shock. She called the director of the morgue, Dr. Richard Molden. He came to look. He was puzzled. He called the Chicago Medical College. Within an hour, 3 physicians came to the morgue. They examined Robert. They were puzzled. One of them, Professor of Medicine Dr. James Park, said, "This is impossible. Organs don't move by themselves. This cannot be." But it was. They carefully documented it. They photographed his internal organs before and after the movement. The photographs were perfectly clear. The organs were in the wrong positions, and then they were in the correct positions. Police were called. Murder was suspected, possibly some form of torture or surgical experimentation. Careful forensic examination of his apartment was conducted. No signs of forced entry, no signs of another person, no tools or equipment that could be used for such intervention. The case was closed as cause of death unknown, possibly murder, but no suspects were ever found. No one knew how it happened, and no one knew why. But a year later, in 1977, another body was found in another part of Chicago. It was a woman, and she also had incorrectly arranged organs. 2 years later, another body. Then another. Over the next 5 years, 6 bodies were found in Chicago, all in the same condition, organs that were rearranged, but then rearranged back into place. Police were never able to solve any of these cases. No suspects were found. No connections between victims were found. The only similarity was the condition of their internal organs and the complete absence of any explanation. Today, these cases remain open in the Chicago Police Archives. They are rarely mentioned. Information about them is not easily available. And medical examiners who know about these cases prefer not to talk about them. One of the physicians who was there when Robert was autopsied, now retired, said in an interview, "I saw things in this work that changed my understanding of what is possible. And the Maxwell case, that is something I will never fully speak about, because I don't want people to think I've gone mad."